And our Supreme Award winner is Peter Gordon.
Kia ora everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to read my notes because I've tried really hard over the last few days to try and memorise these. I told Susan Glasgow I've gone down from 47 minutes of thanks to 20, but it'll be a little bit less. Ko tararua te maunga, ko wairarapa te moana, ko rua mahanga te awa, ko Ngāti kahununu ki wairarapa te iwi, ko Peter Gordon au, rau rangatira mā, tēnā rā tātou katoa. As a descendant of my people of the Wairarapa, I would like to acknowledge Ngāti Whātua tonight for your manaaki, and I'd like to thank the University of Auckland for their sponsorship of this award, and for Sir Stephen Tyndall for setting this kia waka in motion. Thank you so much. I better come clean. I'd like to acknowledge my mother, who I've been lying to for weeks and weeks and weeks. Mum's over there. She flew in from Aussie yesterday, and I'd said to Mum, would she like to come over to New Zealand? I'm doing a little dinner. It's just a small gathering that's not so big. And so I lied to my mother, which is probably a really bad thing, but Timmy turned up, so thanks, Mum, for coming over. I'd also hoped to get my father Bruce and my stepmother of almost 50 years, Rose, to come up from Wanganui, but Dad's been pretty crook, so Dad couldn't be here. And I was also lying to them. I was trying to find any way to get them up here, but it just didn't work. One person I had to tell that I'd won this award, and I tell you no one in my family knows this, so they will shortly, is my partner Al, Alistair Carruthers. I told Al because I needed a tux and I don't have one, and Al had his favourite Xenia tux, and he said, look, take this out to New Zealand and you can have it. So I had to tell Al, which is great. Al is an amazing partner. He's a fantastic man. Many of you may know him through his work and stuff he does in New Zealand, but for me, he's my boyfriend. He's an amazing guy. Thank you, Al. And also tonight, I want to acknowledge Gilly and Terry, our great mates who've come here to sit with Mum, and Al's mother Muriel, who we call Ruby, and my mother and Al's mother weirdly went to school in Palmerston North together in the same year, but they didn't know each other. So they've got to know each other over the last 8 years. So Ruby, Gilly, Terry, Mum, Al, thank you so much. I'd like to say whānau are everything in my mind. I just think without whānau, what do we have? What do we have to stand on? But I was thinking, why have I got this award? What have I done? Who did I cook for? Who on the judging panel ate my grilled scallop and thought that is the best scallop I've ever had? We've got to give this kid from Castlecliff an award. And it's true, I have cooked for some really cool people over the years. A lunch for the Queen and Prince Philip at Claire and Don's house in London, not so long ago. Barack Obama last year here in New Zealand, and Jacinda Ardern and Theresa May at number 10 recently. I thought, is it because I've actually done a world first? An amazing world first that you'll all be proud of. I served Hokey Pokey ice cream at number 10 Downing Street. Yeah. With poached tamarillos, I tell you. But it wasn't that. Theresa May is diabetic, doesn't eat sugar, so she didn't try the Hokey Pokey. I didn't split the atom. And interestingly, I was at a Te Papa Foundation event recently at the Royal Society in London. My partner Al co-chairs that with Dale Mace. And there was Lord Rutherford's potato masher. Really, truly. It was like a smasher more than a masher. It's a wooden thing that you squash the potatoes with. And I was thinking even amazing scientists have to cook their kai. So that was quite good. You may be aware, you may have heard a lot of people tonight have come up and said, oh, I hear you're shutting the Providores in London after 18 years. My business partner Michael and I thought it's just time to call it a day. So I thought, is it that we introduced the flat white to London? It's hard to imagine life without a flat white, but there was a period where there wasn't one. Is it because of our Turkish eggs? Or is it the fact that we have been a staging post since 2001 for hundreds and hundreds of young people, mainly New Zealanders initially, who would pass through our kitchens and go on to do incredible things. They've gone on to open espresso roasteries. Jeremy, one of our business partners, initially makes jewellery down in Christchurch. Anna Hanson's an amazing chef in London with her own restaurant, The Modern Pantry. We've got wine, all sorts of people. Is it that? Or is it because of something I did with the NZ UK Link Foundation? We set up the Culinary Fellowship in 2001, and it was a way that we sent young Kiwis off to UK to work in restaurants they couldn't have dreamed of. I have to say now, the quality of restaurants in New Zealand is such that they're already here. But young folk would go off and have this amazing experience. And we would bring a young British chef over to New Zealand for 5 weeks, and they would be like, why does anyone leave? You know, they were blown away. So I think the NZ UK Link Foundation have been marvellous in spreading the word as much as Kia in many, many ways. Is it my work here at Sky City? In 2005, we opened Dine down on the ground floor of this hotel, which is now Gusto. Bayota the following year, and the Sugar Club 6 years ago. Or is it because of all the kai that you've all eaten on Air New Zealand's flights around the world, which I'm very proud of? My paternal grandmother, Molly Gordon, was a firm believer in community. Gran instilled in me that those who can help truly should help, and for that she received an award, QSM, from the Queen, which was good, and bags of beanies. I remember growing up around my grandmother, and there were always just beanies everywhere. And Gran was instrumental in the Aftercare Association in Wellington, where my Auntie Mary attended. And Gran believed that she should help people, so she got all the young people to knit the beanies, and then she would drive around in her old Wolseley and drop them off at building sites around Wellington and give them to the construction workers, because she felt a warm head is a good head. So I think that's why she got a QSM. But my biggest charitable efforts, if that's why I'm here, are focused on leukemia. And as you've heard, I've done pretty well raising money for that. My sister Trace was diagnosed in 1994, and in 1995 I went out to Melbourne. I was lucky enough to be a bone marrow donor for her. Trace is alive and well. She surfs most days in Byron Bay. Thank you. She's amazing. And so we've raised a lot of money. This year, on the first Monday in March, we did a dinner at the Dorchester in London, and we raised $1 million on the night, which was our record. We normally have 20 chefs. This year we had 25. It was our 21st anniversary. It was the 20th dinner. Technically, we missed a year because the hotel was shut when we wanted to do it. Was it that? And at those events, I always wish that I had the rest of my siblings with me. Mum and Dad and Rose, between them, have had 7 children. And there's Vicky, Donna and Tracy, and Sean in Australia. My brother Craig lives in Brunei, and Dean and Cindy live down in Whanganui. So I always wish they could be with me, but they're often not. I live just too far away. I'd like to point out something that is also about family. And when I was 4, my mum loves to tell the story that she came in and she saw me making a cookbook, and that got lost. But this one here is one I made. It's high tech, as you can see. This one I made when I was 8, and I know that because the newest recipe in it is from 1971. And it's a recipe that my father found in the garage recently. It's got crepe omelettes. It's got a whole lot of cool stuff in here. We might put it on in the Sugar Club. Maybe not. I'm also involved in the Rokotari Music Therapy Centre through my cousin Hinui Himoi and the Lamb Charitable Trust here in New Zealand. And I do what I can, really, because Molly, my grandma, the great woman, is always on my shoulder saying, do what you can, do what you can. But I've also come to learn or realise that coming from Castlecliff in Whanganui has spurred me on. And when I met the Queen the second time, as you do, just name dropping there, receiving my ONZM at Windsor Castle, my inner voice said, as it often does, it said, not bad for a kid from Castlecliff. Obviously, as a 56-year-old, that's getting a bit tired, but it still resonates with me. It's helped me write cookbooks, and I only got, for those of you who were around when we did school certificate at high school, yeah, I got 50% for school cert English, but I've written 8 books and the Ducks hasn't written one, so I think that's quite good. Just saying. It sits with me all the time. Gran on one shoulder, Castle Cliff on the other. And it was on my mind when Hinui, he and I we produced 2 TV series together. One was called Native Kitchen, the second one. And in that, we had a group of 8 young Māori chefs or cooks who aspired to be chefs. And the point of the show, in some ways, what the networks thought was that we would knock one out each time, and at the end of it, there'd be one standing. And I thought, this is not the message we need to give to our young people. We need to show that you're stronger in community, as my grandmother's always told me. We need to show that you're stronger standing side by side. So we got to the end of our 8th week, and we had all 8 cooks still there. There was a leader. There was someone that they chose themselves who cooked the kai, and it was a really good dinner. But I thought that is a message we need to give again and again and again. We are stronger as a community, whether we're part of kia or part of family whānau. It's all about people. 20 years ago, I left my role as exec chef at the Sugar Club in Soho in London, and I wanted to be in New Zealand for the millennium, partly because I thought that the world was going to end. We were never going to be able to get on a plane again. I'd never see my family, and it would be nice to sort of see the sunrise. And I was in Wairarapa. But it didn't happen that way. 20 years later, we're closing the Providores at the end of July. If any of you are coming to London, you've only got about 5 weeks to book, so get in quick. It'll be time for a change. And being a New Zealander is so much of what I do as a person. It informs what I do, it informs how I see the world, it informs how I react with others, and it also informs how I expect others from all around the world to react with me. I'm truly honoured and really happy to have been given this award, and thank you all so much. Thank you.